welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited for today's video. I'm bringing you an update, a 3/4 of the way through the year update in my These Products Will Self-Destruct. So at the beginning of the year, I started with 14 makeup products, very old makeup products, throughout my makeup collection that I said are going to self-destruct by the end of the year, or essentially I need to declutter them by the end of the year if I don't use them a certain amount of times. It's kind of essentially like a project pan. I was originally inspired to do it because I saw my friend Emily from Emily and Max and McKinnis Mama do this in like a book sort of way. So basically she had books that she had to read before the end of the year, or she had to get rid of the books, and I was like, you know what, it'd be fun to do this with makeup. So I have a bin full of products here. I started the year with 14 products, and I will say I have already decluttered 3 and finished a few others. But if you're interested in seeing my update on the rest, stay tuned. Of course, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project painting content, palette themed content, or just chit-chatting about makeup, I'd love for you to consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into the video. We can recap the 3 products that I have decluttered. I will leave my declutter series down below in case you missed that and are interested in a declutter, but I did end up decluttering my Tarte Chrome Paint Pot in the shade Top Yacht. That was just something that I really did not reach for. I really struggled to reach for not only my single eyeshadows, but especially my single potted shadows. There is just something about a single potted shadow that your girl cannot get into and cannot motivate myself to reach for. So after 6 months of it being a product that I wanted to be top of mind and not using it even one time, I think maybe I used it once, I was like, you know what, it's time for this to go. It was also so old in my collection, so that is gone. Becca Flowerchild, I also decided I was ready to be done with. I think I had had that product since 2016, so it was quite old in my collection. It had gotten a lot of love, and I have other similar blushes to it in my collection that I prefer reaching for over that one, especially because it is getting a little bit older. I do feel that the quality in that one was declining just a little bit. So ultimately I did make the decision to declutter that, as well as my Makeup Forever highlighter in the shade 1 or 2. It was like more of a pink toned highlight, but it was a very icy pink, and I definitely have other pink highlights in my collection that I prefer over that highlight. That was another highlight that came into my collection maybe 2015, 2016, so very old. And I gave myself a goal to reach for it 50 times this year, or I had to declutter it. I had reached for it 12 times this year, which actually was probably more than I had reached for it in a couple of the years past, but ultimately I decided that I had other pink highlights that I again preferred over that one, so I was ready to part ways with that. So that left us with 11 products, 3 of which I have either used up or hit the goal that I set out to hit. So 3 saved products so far this year. Up first, we have the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, which I have finally emptied out. I purchased this in May of 2019, and it took me so long to finish this up. I do have a couple other products that are like this, but I will say Charlotte Tilbury, the Flawless Filter, is probably my favorite. I need to get through those other products before I ever consider purchasing this one again. But I do miss this one a little bit in my collection and really enjoyed my time with this. This lasted me for freaking ever. Like, I feel like I was pretty decent about reaching for this. Sometimes I would use it all over my face, sometimes just as a highlight. I use this quite frequently, and it took me so long to empty out. After many years of owning the RCMA powder, which I had put into my Laura Mercier container, I did finally finish this loose powder as well. I will say I really did enjoy this powder at one time. I used to be much more of a loose powder girly and not a pressed powder girly, but now I've like flip-flopped. And the pressed powder that I love the most is the Givenchy Prism Libre, which I really just use to set underneath my eyes. And then I usually use a pressed powder to set the rest of my face. So I'm really happy to have this moved out of my collection just because I didn't really love it at the end. I just always wanted to be reaching for my Givenchy. Glad this is out. This took years as well. This, I believe I probably purchased the RCMA powders in 2015, so they were like pushing 9 to 10 years old. And then the final product is not an empty, but it is a goal achieved, and it is my Dose of Colors Baked Browns palette, which I had already hit my goal on when I updated you guys last. So I either told myself I needed to have a pan in every single shade in this palette, which I already had 3, or I needed to completely use up this shade, which was a like cream colored lid setting shade, and I did end up finishing up this shade. I will say I really enjoyed having this kind of at the front of my mind, especially the first little bit of the year, and I still really enjoy having this palette in my collection, especially at moments that I like reaching for warm tones. I feel like this is just a solid 4 warm tone brown matte shades to have in my collection. There is a lot of kick up with Dose of Colors eyeshadows, but that doesn't really bother me. I find these really easy to work with, really easy to blend, and just solid matte shades to have in my collection. That brings me to the 8 other products that will self-destruct if I don't complete them. We can talk about this first because this just rolled into my whole collection project pan. This is my Natasha Denona Lila palette, and I told myself I needed to reach for this a minimum of 20 times. Otherwise it had to go. If this has to go, or if I declutter this, I will still keep this in my collection, but I just won't use it. It is a really special palette because it was my first Natasha Denona palette. It just holds a very nostalgic kind of moment and memory in my head. So this is something I will keep. I have reached for this 2 out of 20 times. In fact, earlier today I did reach for this shade as well as this shade when I created that purple look using the Illuminatrix palette. I used a little bit of this on the outer corner and then a little bit of this on the inner corner. So this is currently in my whole collection project pan, and I have to use it 20 times as well as no pan left behind this in order to roll it out of that project. So I am confident that I will save this before the end of the year. My Marc Jacobs Tantastic bronzer, I told myself I just needed to use this 30 times. I already had a really large pan in this, but I feel like because I've had this for so long, I'm kind of like getting bored with it. I've only reached for this 3 out of 30 times. So I just need to like roll this into my next Shop My Stash and put this like forefront of my mind to use. I think I will also, I'm pretty sure I'll also save this product. All right, I have my Fenty Tang lipstick, which is also going in, I believe it's my whole collection project pan. I told myself I needed to use this up. I definitely do not think I'm going to completely use this up before the end of the year, but there's nothing wrong with this. So unless it goes off in the next few months, even if I don't finish it, I am going to likely keep this product. I really need to remind myself to use this one more frequently, especially in spring, summer. I do feel like I need to make an effort to use it next year if I keep this, and truly if I don't, it needs to go at the end of next year. I purchased this when these released, which I believe was 2020, possibly 2021, so it is older in my collection. It is a really beautiful shade, and I did have a moment there, end of spring, beginning of summer, where I was reaching for this a lot. Then I definitely fell off and have not reached for this much since. Dose of Colors Sassy Sienas was another one I rolled in. I told myself I just needed to reach for this 20 total times, and I've only reached for this 2 out of 20 times. I need to make an effort with this one, and truthfully, I don't know that I'll declutter this. Even if I don't reach for it 20 times, I really should make the effort to reach for it 20 times because that's what I said. But I do really like having this in my collection, but I also never reach for this one. So that's why I'm kind of girl, if you're not using it, why are we keeping it? These 3 shades right here are such beautiful, warm brown shades. I feel like I should just really get my uses these first few months of fall because I feel like it could be a really beautiful fall palette. I think we look at this and we think right away maybe summer, which I clearly missed the mark on that, but this could also work really well for the fall. So still have 18 uses left to save this one, but I am really hoping to hit those 18 uses. Next up, I have this Dose of Colors liquid lipstick, which is also so old in my collection. This is in the shade Mondaze, and I think this was my first liquid lipstick from Dose of Colors. It still smells okay. I have reached for this 2 times. I told myself I either needed to use this up or declutter it. I struggle so much to declutter unless something is truly causing a tickle in my throat. I can see mold, or it truly smells so bad. And I get none of those things yet, but I really should make an effort, especially in the fall, because this is more of a fall shade to me. I should really make an effort. Should I put a little bit of this on right now? I really should make an effort to actually at least use this if I want to justify keeping it beyond this year. Okay, I feel like putting it over top of that Fenty Cherry Gloss Bomb neutralized it just a little bit. As it sets down, it gets just a little bit darker, but isn't that such a pretty shade? I honestly feel like this isn't even so vampy that I couldn't get away with it at work. I really should reach for this so much. I feel like this goes with this. I look so well too. Okay, I'm actually I'm really loving that. Okay, I just need to reach for this more. But fall is the perfect time to do so. So I really should just put this on my desk and force myself to reach for it a couple times a week. All right, I also told myself that I needed to just use this Bite Beauty lipstick as much as possible before the end of this year and then declutter it. This is in the shade Orange Fizz, and I have reached for this, I think 8 times this year. This is it all the way rolled down. And obviously Bite Beauty hasn't been a brand for a couple of years now, so like this is also old, but there is truly nothing wrong with this lipstick, and I have had so much fun with this lipstick the times that I've reached for it this summer that I like absolutely am not going to get rid of this and don't want to. It is a little bit more of like a bright orange, almost with like, I don't want to say like a hint of pink, but almost like it's just like a brighter orange that I feel like is that perfect like pop of color in the summer. That's not to say I won't use it in the fall winter, but it definitely is more summer fitting in my opinion. So I don't know how much more I will reach for this, but I really don't want to let go of this one, and I'm glad that I included this in this bunching of products because it really did encourage me to reach for it some this summer, and I loved using this. So I don't know how much more use I'm going to get out of this, but I don't see myself, unless again it starts growing mold or gets really funky, I don't see myself actually decluttering this. Just putting it out there. All right, and the final 2 products are both face palettes. So I have the Laura Geller Baked Gelato Swirl palette, and I gave myself the goal to reach for this 30 total times, and I have since reached for it 8 times, meaning that I have 22 total times that I still need to reach for it. I will say, I think my best bet to finish that goal is to just reach for the shade Peach Glow. In fact, I really should just tuck this behind me and reach for Peach Glow. I think it's such a beautiful pink highlight. I definitely don't want to declutter this palette, but like I need to reach for it at least 22 more times. So this one, like I like Ballerina and I like Gilded Honey. In fact, maybe I'll use a little bit of Ballerina on my shoulder right now. It's just, Ballerina is definitely like too deep for my cheeks. Okay, that is actually, okay, that is pretty. And Gilded Honey, I know was like a cult favorite. I just prefer like a pink highlight to a gold highlight, so I don't reach for it as much. Well, I really like Ballerina though on the shoulders. Should I put a little bit of, oh my gosh, okay, we're gonna have to blend that out for sure. Oh boy, that may have been a little much, but whatever, we're gonna roll with it. I have been focused on my Vesca highlight lately. I feel like I've been reaching for that so much. That's a highlighter going in my whole collection project pan, but once I hit my goal on that, which I'm pretty close, I just need to refocus my efforts and focus on likely Peach Glow in this. And then finally I have my Aurora Glow kit from ABH, and I also gave myself a 30 use goal with this. I have only reached for this 3 times. I will say I was planning to reach for this for inner corner highlights for colorful looks. I did just repurchase my KVD Alchemist palette, which, side note, got destroyed, made me so sad, and then I repurchased. But I do want to keep this. I mean, I have fond memories of this as well. I could use the shade, like there's Eclipse swatched right there, which is a really beautiful, almost like holographic peachy pink shade, but I feel like that could be really pretty on the cheeks. And then also kind of same thing with the shade Lyra, again, more like peachy, a little bit deeper peachy pink. But I could use both of those on my cheeks, and then I really should just make an effort when I'm, you know, creating a blue look or a green look or a purple look. I definitely could be reaching into these shades as an inner corner highlight. So 27 more uses to go with this to keep it. I hope I get to keep it. I likely won't declutter this even so. We'll see, we'll see. I told you guys that's what I was gonna do, but I don't know if I like actually will be able to do it. But I feel like this did kind of help me decide, like the 3 products that I did declutter, I was like, okay, like I like know that I don't want to get rid of them, whereas like these I'm like, okay, like the products that I decluttered, I was like, okay, I know that like I'm ready to get rid of these, whereas these I'm like, I still don't, like I don't think I am ready to declutter. So doing this project has kind of helped get me in the mindset of like, okay, am I actually ready, or like do I really not want to? But like I still only reached for this 3 times. Like we should at least get to like 10 to 15, girlfriend. Come on now. Anyway, you guys, that is it for today's video on all of the products that will supposedly, probably not, self-destruct before the end of the year. Would love to know if you have any products that you were kind of thinking about, like maybe they have to go at the end of the year, like maybe they're getting the boot. Let a girl know in the comments below. Other than that, thanks so much for sticking around to watch today's video and for supporting me and my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.